Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan. All right, everyone that is here, we are getting ready to demonstrate Layout Pro. We are so excited. I'm joining you from Chattanooga, Tennessee. My name is Rebecca. My friend Ryan is joining you from Michigan. So if my voice gets on your nerves, at least you'll have Ryan to help break it up a little bit.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and do a little demo of Layout Pro. So for those of you that used Yearbook Avenue, the good news is Layout Pro is replacing it, and there is no Flash player. No, we don't have to accept to allow Flash. So we are Flash free. Very, very exciting news.
Yeah, also the good news is Yearbook Avenue is not going away. It's still going to be the place where you come to design your yearbook, but inside of that is Layout Pro instead of the old Page Designer. So before we get started, Ryan is going to walk us through some of the great planning tools that are available inside Yearbook Avenue, and that will make our Layout Pro experience much smoother. So Ryan, why don't you get us started?
All right, so I am logged into Yearbook Avenue, and once this session is over, you will be able to log into your own 2021 sites and go from there. But today we'd like you to go along with us and just kind of see what we have to show you. I would suggest a piece of paper and a pen if you have one, that would be great. And we're gonna go ahead and feel free to take any screenshots that you want to also, but we're gonna show you guys a lot of cool items today. So I am right now on the home screen, and you will see that the home screen is similar to what you might have been used to if you were on staff last year. You will see the 3 times coverage, you'll see your sales goal. One thing that I really want to point out though is the task menu. So the task menu is where I'm going to go ahead and put down some of the things that I want to accomplish today, and more importantly, what we want to get done before the school year starts. So some of those items are picking our fonts, making sure that we have all of the fonts that we want to use. You guys have learned a lot about this over the past couple days, and I'm sure that you're ready to get these in. So picking those fonts is one of my tasks. Picking colors is another task. Picking a template family to work with to go ahead and get your pages set up. Setting up styles, setting up your image library. So how did I get these tasks in here? I simply am going to click right here to be able to add my last task that I will show you how to do, and that is fill in the ladder. All right, so once I type that in, I do have a couple of different options. I can set a date as to when I want to get this task done by. I could also assign a task to someone. So I can go ahead and add in all of those things, but these are some of the tasks that we want to get through showing you guys today. So I'm going to go ahead and add that task in. You will see that it's now down on my task list. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to plan, and I'm going to go down to my fonts. So once I go to my fonts, you will see that I have some fonts that are already set up within my book. If I want to add any fonts, I can simply scroll down and click to make a font active or not active. If I want to see what these fonts look like, right here in the upper right-hand corner, there's a list where I can download a PDF of all of my different fonts to figure out which ones work best for me. All right, so that's where my fonts are. You'll see that my next couple tasks are actually located right up here, right at the very top. So I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my color palette now. So I'm going to click on color palettes, and you will see all of the different color palettes are active right now. So students, you will want to work with your advisors to figure out which color palettes we will be using, if we want to have them all or if we want to eliminate some of the color palettes. So one thing that I think is really nice and really important to do is to make sure that we always have our school palette live. So to do that, what you do is you create a custom color palette. You then can come up here and type in the name of your school. I then click save. I then can come over here and click add. So now what I could do is I can look at these and I can pick my school colors. So if my school colors are purple, then I want to pick which purple works the best for my school for that school year. Now, one thing to remember is that we want to always look at the printed color guide to make sure that we see the colors, because some of our screens look different than others. So always look at the printed guide to pick your school color. So I go ahead, I'll click my purple. It shows up and it's added over here. And I'm going to go ahead and also add in that this is my yellow. So those are my two school colors. I now have those over here added in. All right, so now that I have my colors, I would go through one simple thing that I want to make sure you guys know is this grayscale. So if I click on this little plus, it's going to show me my grayscale. It shows me all of the colors that are in the grayscale. I would always suggest keeping that color palette live and active. All right. All right. Next thing over, I have my colors picked. I have my fonts picked. I'm now going to move over to styles. All right, so the next thing over, Jocelyn has gone ahead and set up some of the standard items that you would see when working on a page. So for a headline, you'd have a subheadline, body copy, all of those kinds of things. Now, if you decided that you want to change this, you can come over here and I can click on edit and I can come down and type in what font I want to use. So if I wanted to use Foundations Roman for my body copy, I could say that I want to leave that as a body copy. I could change the size of it if I wanted all of my body copy to be size 12 or 10. And we'll show you guys in a little bit how to adjust this more once we're in the program. I go ahead and I click save. It's going to change the way it looks here. And I now see that my body copy is set as foundation instead. If I want to add another style, so let's just say I click here. I want to add another style and I want to set up my sport headlines. I can go ahead, put in my sport headline. I can then come down, choose what font that will be. I can set the main size that I want those to be, and then I can click save. It will now add to my styles. So this is just some of the pre-planning on getting items set up to start your school year. All right. So that is fonts, color palette, and styles. Next, I'm going to go ahead and go to the image library. So I'm going to go to the Create menu, click on the Create menu, and I'm going to go down to the image library. All right, it's letting me know that there are two different types of folders that we can set up. We have our standard folders, and then we can have hidden folders, advisors. If you have something that you want to hide, then you could do that. Maybe our top 10 seniors or something to that effect. All right, so here's our image library. Now, the first thing I'd like to point out is that when you first log in, you will see the different categories over here on the left. So up top, you will see portrait and you will see a triangle next to the word portrait. When you click on that little triangle, it will show you your different categories. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know is when your student portraits are loaded, those will go into the portrait category. We shouldn't have any other picture categories in that folder. However, we do want to go through and set up our other folders inside of activity. So next to the word activity, I'm going to click on the little triangle and I will see that I have some of my standard categories set up right here. Now what's really cool is now I have the opportunity with my yearbook to go in and set up more folder file structure. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do this, and this would be something that I would suggest based on how you want to organize your photos that you could do over the summer before the school year starts. So to add a folder, you simply click on the word sports, and I'm going to come right here and add a new subcategory. So I'm going to click that. I'm now going to type in varsity football. Click OK. And now you will see that I have the category of varsity football labeled right here. If I do want to take it one step further, I could click on that varsity football folder, click on the folder, and add in the October 1st game. And I could put in some more information there too. But you guys can go ahead before the school year starts and get these set up with however many layers of categories you want for your book. And then what you will see is to upload a photo, you can click on that folder that you want the pictures to go in. You can click on the upload button. And then what you will see is you can either go to your school network and upload images, or you can go to the Google Drive. So what's really cool is, yes, you can connect to Google Drive and be able to download photos from your Google Drive directly into Yearbook Avenue. One thing I might suggest is even setting up a Yearbook Google Drive so that then you can make your file structure within your Google Drive match Yearbook Avenue. So really cool that we can go ahead and download photos right from Google Drive. All right, on to the next step. So the next step, again, I'm going to go to the Create menu. I'm going to go down to Page Ladder. All right, so a ladder is a description of what's on every page in your yearbook, kind of like a table of contents. So when we're setting up what's going to be on each page, we can do a couple of different things. One thing we could do is we could click right here, and again, this is an advisor function, and load last year's descriptions. This will take what you had on the pages from last year and move it over to your 2021 book. You could, if you wanted to, also load last year's page designs. So if you really liked the way you designed your sports section, you want to use it again, you could do that. All right, or your organizations maybe. The other option you could do is I could come right here and I can type in what I want that section to be. So I can just type in title page. I can then enter in who my staff members are, and even associate some deadlines with that under my advisor login. So one thing you want to make sure of is that once you've done these things, that you do go ahead and click save to make sure you save all of your changes. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready to start working in Layout Pro. So what I do is I bring my mouse down, put my little hand over top of a page, and I'm going to go ahead and click once, and it's going to bring me into Layout Pro. And I'm going to pass it over to Rebecca.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan. Now that we have done all of our planning, which are functions and activities that you guys can be doing right now before school starts in whatever form that may be, you can go ahead and go through the steps that Ryan showed you so that whenever we do log on to Layout Pro in the fall, you have some of those pieces that are set up and ready to go. So here I am on Layout Pro. The way I'm going to do this, you guys, I know there are going to be lots of questions. I'm going to pop through these tabs on the left-hand side, and then I'm also going to walk you through some options that are going to pop up for us along here on the top, okay? So we're going to go through it in an organized fashion, and hopefully we'll get to whatever is burning in your brain, whatever questions you have. If we don't, we are going to leave some time at the end so that our comment people can help us know what are some things that we missed. And we'll make sure that before you leave that you have your question answered, okay? So I'm gonna start right here with the Pages tab. The Pages tab is just another view of the image of the page ladder that Ryan already set up for us. You can also look at just the pages that have been assigned to you if you want to. But for now, we're gonna leave it on Yearbook so that we can see the whole page ladder from here. And that's the Pages tab. The next tab down is Designs. This is where Jostens houses all of those pre-designed templates and even pre-designed pieces of pages in these libraries for you to use if you want. I don't know about you, Ryan, but I always encourage my staffs to at least start with a pre-design and then customize it from there, because it's a lot easier to start with something than to build from nothing, typically. Just to show you how some of these resources are organized, anything that you save as something that you have created yourself, that you've created custom, is always going to be saved up here at the top. Here's where your custom pieces are going to be found. This next triangle, and remember Ryan showed us, anytime there's a triangle, that means it's a collapsed menu. That means there's more things to look at. The next one down is called Themes. I love these because these are templates that have been completely designed to go with different types of themes that you might choose for your yearbook. So for example, the theme of ambition. Here's a title page that could go along with that theme. Here's some opening and closings. And another way to think about it is, even if you don't love the word ambition, but you like the look of these pages, change them up, and they've already at least been laid out in a consistent way for you. So that's what all of these are, all of those under theme. The next piece is modular, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that. Modular design is a huge, huge trend. It makes our books look clean and professional. So we have some resources to help us achieve that look. Then underneath there are our page surfer categories, and those are going to coincide with the types of pages that you have in your book: sports, clubs, and organizations, and things like that. Okay? So for now, I'm going to go back to that ambition. I like the ambition look here, and I'm going to choose a template. It's going to ask me if I want to retain existing content in the new template. Typically, that answer is no, so I'm just going to hit no. So I love this. We've gone from a completely blank layout to now all of these things happening. And the good news is, just like you're used to, you guys, everything on here is changeable. So I can change this picture box. Anything that's blue is a picture box. I can move it from one location to the other, and I can even set it on an angle. Look at all those pretty, pretty angles I can use to start making this page exactly the way that I want it. So let's pretend that I want to move this picture box. I think it's too big. I want to pop it up a little bit and pull it down here. Okay. So while I'm here, let me show you a couple of cool things. You guys can see, hopefully, that when I have chosen or clicked on a picture box, I get some cool options up here. So let me show you some interesting things. First, let's say I want to make this box small. I'm going to pop in here a little bit. I want to make this box small, but I want to have a string of little boxes here so that I can really hit those coverage goals. So I have this awesome duplicate button, kind of instead of copy and paste. So I'm just going to bump, duplicate a few boxes here. I know I want them to kind of be, I want them to be in a line, but I'm in a hurry. I don't have a ton of time to make them perfect. It's hard to make things perfect, as y'all know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my shift key and choose all of these boxes. And I'm going to come here to arrange. When I hit that menu, look what happens. I get this little arrange menu with a little thumbtack. If I hit the thumbtack, now this menu is available for me to move it anywhere on the page that I want. This is the beginning, you guys, of being able to customize your own workspace with these contextual toolbars that you can dock at any time. I'm so excited about this idea. I think our students are really going to love it. So while I'm here, I want to make sure that all of these boxes are aligned right here at the bottom of this second box. So I'm going to come to Align Object, and I'm going to choose Align to the bottom. When I do that, everything aligns to the bottom-most in the group that I had. I also want to make sure that all of these pieces of space are consistent inside. So I'm going to come to Distribute. And when I do that, you could see that this box popped over a bit to make sure that now all of these pieces of space are consistent within this little grouping. So I'm really excited about that. While I'm here, I'm going to group these pieces together. You see how now I have a dotted line around these picture boxes? Now I can move them all together to wherever I want them to go. And as you can see too, when items are grouped, if I want to change the size a bit, I can. And it's going to keep everything in proportion, and it's going to maintain those pieces of space that I set that I wanted. So I think that's exciting. Now, when things are grouped, they can't be edited. So we want to make sure that when we're ready to pop pictures in, for example, that we ungroup. And now, as you can see, each of those little boxes are ready to accept pictures. So I think that's really, really exciting. The other piece that I wanted to show you really quickly before we move on too much, along with kind of starting to adjust our picture boxes and thinking about how we want our page to look, usually when my students use a pre-designed template, they like the way it looks, but one of the first things that we want to change usually is the colors that are used. So to be able to do that, see all of these red boxes that just came in on this layout? I'm going to come up here to edit. I'm going to choose select, and I'm going to choose color. For context, I'm going to say I want to choose everything that is filled with this red, and I want to change it to, remember Ryan set up this high school color palette for us? I know that our school color is purple. So I'm going to change everything that is red on the page right now to purple. Boop. And I'm able to do that with just the pop of a button. And so now already this page is starting to look like something that I really want to, that looks more like my school. The next thing, so here, that's where our designs are. And I'll actually, let me show you one more thing before I move designs. I have now decided that this little piece of stuff isn't cool enough. When I go to select this package of things, did you see how it made a purple box? I love that. So now you can really see the things that you are grabbing all at once, selecting all at once. I've decided I don't like that. It's not cool enough for me. So inside design, since we're still in the designs tab, I'm going to come to modular, and I'm going to choose a blue mod because I know it's sort of roughly the size of that space. Anything that's inside here in this blue module system has been perfectly designed to fit inside that piece of space. I love that. And so now when things are brought in as modulars, they're grouped. And just remember that if we need to edit them, when we're ready to edit, we're going to break all of those apart and ungroup. And now I'm able to make the edits that I want. So I love that function. All right, Ryan, I think I'm ready to play some photos. So
All right.
I'm excited. We've been to pages, designs, and now we're going to go to the images tab right here. When you come to images, you're going to click our little triangle, and it's going to show you the folder hierarchy that Ryan showed you how to set up in the image library. So it's going to completely mirror what's in the image library. I can see her varsity football right here. So let's come to varsity football, and I'm actually going to go through the whole step of uploading a photo. So remember, you can upload from the image library. You can also upload with the page open if you want. I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to upload from Google Drive. And while it's doing that, I just want to say out loud again about how important this, how exciting it is for us that this is a flash-free experience for you guys. And it has also been specifically optimized for Chromebooks. So many of our schools are using Chromebooks these days and are using this Google system of organization already. And we have decided to just go along and make it as easy as possible for you guys to use your Google technology with Yearbook Avenue and Layout Pro. So I've chosen some pictures there. I didn't even look. I don't know how great they are, but we'll find out together. You can choose as many pictures as you want. I love Ryan's suggestion of mirroring your image library folders in your Google Drive so that they match and you kind of have your pictures both places. So I love that that's how we're going to do it, hopefully. Okay, so now we're done, and you can even see up here that it shows me that the category destination is football, varsity football. And here they are. Here are the pictures that I just uploaded. So I am going to just start dragging and dropping pictures onto the page. It's as easy as that. While I'm here, I'm going to show you that I can double click on this picture and kind of pop it around inside that picture box to get it cropped the way that I want. Okay. Also, as I hope that you're starting to look for, when I have the picture chosen, I'm getting all of these cool little options again. So let's walk through a couple. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. The first option is stroke. I can put an outline around this picture. Bigger the number, the thicker the outline, so you can see. We've applied a stroke. Next, we have this cool magic wand, which is our format and effects. This is one that I can see would be a very handy one to tack onto the page and kind of keep open, because I think we're going to go to it quite a bit. But there's some really fun things that you can do in here. We can round the corners. You guys can see that that is happening in real time. You can also make this picture transparent if you want to be able to see through it. And you can also adjust the tint, which is basically just adding white if you want a watermark look for this photo, okay? Underneath here, you can apply a drop shadow to the picture. And you can get really specific with how you want this drop shadow to look and from what degree you want it to come from. I'm going to pop it up a little darker so you can see. As I move it around, you can see that shadow's coming from different angles. So the point is just to show you that you can be as detailed as you want with these drop shadows. Okay? Also, when you have a photo open, you're going to have access to our Snap Edit. Snap Edit is where we're going to be able to make some minor photo editing choices. I can see this picture as black and white. I can see it as sepia. You can even adjust some of the brightness, contrast, and saturation levels to get this photo exactly where you want it. Okay? So what I want to do is just show you, let's say we decide we want to have this picture in black and white on our page. I'm going to choose Save. And what the program is going to do, it's going to save this black and white version alongside the original version in the image library and in that toolbar for us, so that you're never losing the original photo that you're starting with. So we'll give that a minute to percolate here. Ta-da! And then you can see, of course, that it has changed to black and white on my page. But also, over here on the left, you can see here's our original photo and here's our edited version. So I love that.
Rebecca, I love that it automatically switched it for me. That is so helpful.
I agree. I think that's really important. It's the small things sometimes, right, Ryan?
Absolutely.
All right. So we've been through pages, designs, images. Now we're going to go to art. So I'm going to give us a little room. This is where you're going to be able to add to the page. The first one here is image frames. This is where you're going to get your new image boxes, where you can size them and place them wherever you want on the page in all of these shapes. Speaking of shapes, this is where you're going to get your color blocks as well. I'm going to, I think I might want a little splash of purple behind this cool by the numbers thing. So I'm going to come here to color. I tell you what else I think is a little thing but is awesome is that it shows me the colors that have been used on the page, so I can match my purples, which is important to me. And now I'm going to come to arrange and send that piece all the way to the back. So I have like a little mini background here, which I love. Speaking of backgrounds, because I know backgrounds are a big, big question, couple of different ways to do it. Inside our Art tab are all of the backgrounds that we have designed for people to use. So, you know, I don't have an idea of what I want to use. Let's just use this first one. It looks very celebratory. So I've decided that that is the background that I want to use. So I just clicked and dragged it over to the page. If I want to make a change, I'm going to double click on the page and choose Change Background. When I do that, it gives me the option now to choose just a color that I want this background to be. And I chose that pretty mint color. I tell you what else I like about this. I can still see, even though I have my background on, I can still see my guidelines through the color here, so that I can have my background on. I want to go ahead and put it on, and I can still use the grid for alignments. Now, what if that grid is getting on my nerves and I want to really see a good preview of what this page is going to look like? I'm going to come down here, in this little piece of menu, and the very bottom one is going to let me take the grid off. Put it on, grid off, so that I can get that good preview that I want. All right. I'm going to take this off for now. Oh, we'll leave it on. I think it's pretty. Okay. So that is what is in art. Moving right along to the text palette or the text tab. This is why it's important to go through the step like Ryan showed you of setting up some styles, because anything that you set up with those styles at the beginning is what's going to be available here. So I know that Ryan set up sports headline for me, so I'm going to pull it here. And it is already, the size and it's already the font that I want. I love this. I walk into yearbook staff's rooms all the time and I see the notes on the board for what point size and what font each of the headlines should be. Here, the program is going to encourage you to go ahead and have that stuff preloaded so that you're not having to format that every time. Now, while you're here, don't be worried that you've lost all your options. You can still make the changes if you want. And I can still adjust the size if I want. Okay?
Rebecca,
Yes.
it's awesome that every time you click on something, it's changing that toolbar.
You're totally right. Again, now that we're talking about text, we have all of these new text options, which is great. That's true. I love that the menus are intuitive like that. So while I'm popping along here, I can also change the color of this headline to my purple if I want. And create a little space here because I want to show you some cool things. I can underline. I can even decide that I want all of this to be in uppercase. Now, I will tell you guys, when I have been showing Layout Pro to my customers, this is the thing that they get the most excited about, is being able to choose uppercase without having to retype everything. I think that's exciting. And you can choose lowercase and you can choose title case, which is gonna grab every first letter of each word and pop it in uppercase. So I love having those options available. So let's drill down here and show you some more options concerning text. So I left off right here. Next is our alignment tools. Okay, so you will see that I'm going to be able to align to the center, align to the right. I can justify if I want. I can also align, let me clear some of this off so you can see it a little better. I can also align within the text box itself. So if I want this text to appear right in the middle of the text box that I've drawn, I'm able to do that. Maybe I want to pop it to the bottom. I'm able to do that too. We're giving you the most control you can possibly have over how that text is situated inside your text box. I'm really excited about this. The other piece I wanted, so that's alignment. Right next door to it is spacing, where I can squinch this text up closer together or give it even more breathing room if I want. You can adjust that line spacing right there. Awesome. All right. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything super weird before we keep going. All right, let's forge ahead, shall we? Here we go. I want to talk a little bit about flow, because flow is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to clear off some space real quick. So I'm just going to come to edit, select all, and I'm going to hit the delete button. We still got our background. That's okay. So the very next, the next option here is flow. This is fantastic because the way that this is going to work, it's kind of the first time that you're going to be able to adjust and tell it, here, I'm going to pin this and move it over here so you can see what I'm doing. These are, of course, for your portrait pages. Let's say, actually, I want 7 rows and 6 columns. When I make those adjustments, if you watch the portrait dimensions, they're changing automatically to fill what it is that I want. Let's say that I decide I want my pictures to be bigger. Well, if you make them bigger, you can't have that many pictures on the page, is what it's going to show me. So I'm going to be able to basically build these portrait pages super duper quickly based on the numbers that I have in my portrait categories. And the way that it works is you'll come over here, you'll choose what grade you're ready to place. You'll choose how you want the name to appear. And you'll tell it to start on one page and stop on the next page. And this is neat because when the flow works, it places all of the pictures in the category that you've chosen all at once. We are used to, if you used Page Designer, to having to tell it to, yes, you can move on to the next page and progress the flow. With this, it places everything in that category at one time, not having to get the flow to continue. So it's super exciting. And I know that there are going to be questions about that, but we'll show you some video things later so that you can feel a little more comfortable with the flow. But I'm really excited. It's the easiest thing that I've seen in terms of setting up portrait pages. So I think it's going to be great. The next button down here for us is layer. This is where we're going to set up our master templates. So anything that applies to a master template or that is on the master template will be applied to every page of your book. So think page numbers, folio art, something that you want to appear on every single page of the book. You're going to, you would click on here, adjust what you want, and then once you do that, it will be applied to every page of the book. Super duper easy.
So a good thing that you might use for that might be like where your page numbers are,
Right.
and add in some folio artwork would be a great thing to put on your master template.
Exactly. Exactly. My last box here is history. And this is important because we know how important that line of sight is for the activity that's happening on Layout Pro. So just know that for every page, right? For every page, advisors have access to see who has worked on it that day. You have access to see everyone who's worked on that page. You can tell how long people have been logged in, how much time they've been there, when did they log in, all of those things. So as I like to say, there is no hiding in Layout Pro. You can always go back and see who's been working on what, did they work over the weekend like I asked. All of those types of pieces of information are right there for you.
So advisors, the good news is this is an advisor function. For students, we want to let you know also that you do have a backup if something were to accidentally be deleted, but also that we can see what is happening all along the way.
That's right. Ryan, I forgot something that I want to backtrack and do really quick. I bet you know what it is. So here I've popped my headline onto the page. You guys, look what happens when I misspell the word headline. Dun, 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 dun. It's going to tell me right away with a red underline. We have dynamic spell check for the first time. I'm super duper excited about this. Students are used to having their spelling mistakes caught in real time, usually in Word or whatever they're using. And this is, I think it's going to make a lot of advisors' lives easier.
Hey, Rebecca, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did you know that if a school gives us their student list, that it will actually check the spellings of students' names also and underline those too?
Is that true?
Yeah. So it's super exciting. It will have a red line. If you spell the student's name wrong, it will underline it in red as soon as we get your student list. So again, we want to make sure we get those right at the beginning of the school year, get that student list with your the grades associated with those students.
So I don't have to wait for my portrait CD, right?
Nope, absolutely not. And you can, I mean, I would suggest first name, last name, grade, and parent emails if possible, because that's going to also help you with your marketing needs too.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. Those are the biggest headaches, right, advisors and students who are editing yearbooks, is misspellings and misspelled names. So we're trying our best to help you as much as we can. So just to wrap it up, I know we've gone through all of these capabilities over here. I want to address these little capabilities down here, the bottom right-hand side. This is so fun. If I come to up here to comment, I'm able to say, add headline. Boop. Let's see here. Ta-da! And now when the student comes to this page, they can see, oh, it still says headline in that headline bar. I need to make sure that I add the text that I want. It's also going to pop up, look, down here in the comments panel, I have a number 1. That means that there is a comment to look at. Here it is. And as the staff member, I can click it when it has been resolved. So I love that. This is a way, especially every now and then there are yearbook staffs that meet. Some students meet one period and the other group of students meet another period. This is a great way to keep their communication going. Then the final thing on my list that I wanted to show you, still housed within this comments tab, is the pre-flight, prepare for submission pre-flight panel. What this is going to do, and you can kind of see it already, advisors know that every now and then you're gonna get stuck when you're trying to submit a page. Something isn't working, you're not sure what it is, you call your rep or tech support to help you through the process. The pre-flight panel is here to show you whatever it is that is keeping your page from being able to be submitted, be it an unedited text box or an empty image box, whatever it is. It's going to list the problem here, and it's going to highlight it for you here so that you can see. It's also going to prompt you to run spell check again, and it's going to prompt you to proof the page as a PDF. And then once I mark this as complete right here, I can also submit the spread from here if I want, in addition to still being able to submit from the page ladder. Whew, Ryan, that was a lot of information. What do I do if I can't remember anything that was just covered in this session?
So that was a lot that we went through. So I want to show you guys where you can go through to refresh what we went over. So a couple different things. If for one, I could go to my help menu and click and go to resources. The other option would be actually going up to my digital classroom. So I have 2 different options to be able to get to these videos. So because I'm right here in Layout Pro in the Designer, I'm going to go ahead and click on that resources button. Once I go to that resource button, I'm able to scroll down and I'm able to see all of the different tutorials to be able to walk me through what these items were that we just spent the time going over. So, you know, there was a lot with that contextual toolbar. I just want to go over it again. So I'd be able to click on that, and it's actually going to bring up a video and walk me through that entire toolbar. So students, I would highly suggest that you guys work through some of these different videos to make sure you kind of know what the process is for working Layout Pro. There's also in your kits, when we get our kits, there's going to be this really cool poster, and I love this, but it's a really cool poster. I know hopefully you guys can see it. but it's going to have QR codes. So your students will actually be able to come up with their phone. They can scan one of these QR codes and it will also play the same little video. So we have multiple different ways for them to be able to get to those videos. So hopefully a few less questions where they can find the answers on their own.
Awesome. You guys, this is the end of the workshop. I feel very important to be the last, Ryan and I feel very important to be the last people to tell you thank you. Thank you so much. I've been watching the classes and participating as much as I can, and I just think that it has been remarkable. I have enjoyed seeing your comments come through. I have enjoyed seeing, oh, speaking of comments, so sorry. Melissa, is there anything specific that came across a bunch that we just clearly missed?
So Rebecca, I'm gonna just real quick, I was watching some of the comments. So you guys, please feel free to look through the different toolbar right here where it says view. I know that the question was asked, can I see a single page? Absolutely, that option is still there versus facing pages. Snap to grid is there also. One thing you might have noticed when Rebecca was working, that when there was an image, it did show, and I'm just gonna throw on that design that you had again real quickly. It did show that an image hadn't been tagged yet. So there was some questions about that.
Okay.
Also, so if I throw that layout back on, and we throw an image back on. So the question was, what's that little tag? The tag is showing me that this photo has not been tagged yet with the people that are in it. So I love that that stays there until that image is tagged. So just know that there are some of those capabilities there also that we've preset for you. So feel free to look through this toolbar too. Under spelling, yes, there is a personal dictionary, so you can, I know that was another question that was asked, you can add custom items, maybe a city that wouldn't be in a normal dictionary, you could add those kinds of things in. So, Melissa, are there any other questions that we need to address right now, or?
No, you guys did a great job. Everybody's really excited. So far, I'm not seeing anything that is an overwhelming question that we've missed. Although there were a few questions about maybe reviewing the master templates and the layers again.
Okay, Ryan, do you want to do that? I'm going to go ahead and let it either way. Yeah. So if I go to my layers, oh, so this is something else also. If you double click on something, it will collapse that menu bar. So just so you know, there's also these little arrows here that you can collapse the menu bar to, just to give you a little bit more working space. So if you want to edit the master template, then you're going to want to click on the little I and then click edit. And that's going to actually open up your master template. I'll go ahead and save my changes. I know that was another question. You guys, yes, we need to click save, and we do want to save often because you never know when the internet might go out. So yes, you do want to save, and that little disk right there is the save button, or under file, save. So here's my layers palette. I could come in at this point, go under my shapes. I could add in a box. I could add in my page number. Whatever I do with this, and wherever I put it, then it would show up on all of the pages. Once that is done, I will let you guys know that in order to get these master templates applied, you would go back to the page ladder. There is a whole video on doing this also, because some schools want to set up a master template for maybe the chronological section and a separate one for portrait pages and so on. So you can set up multiple different master templates to be able to reference.
Good deal. Thank you guys for hanging in. I'm so excited about Layout Pro, about everything that I've witnessed in the last 3 days. And I think I've been a Jostens rep for 15 years. How about you, Ryan? How long?
I'm 19 years.
19 years. So I feel like we can say that we appreciate you all so much. Your reps appreciate you so much and are so honored to take this journey with you every year in creating such a memorable keepsake for your school community. So thank you all. I hope that you have an excellent, wonderful year.
All right, you guys, you are all set. You're done. You're on to your staff time. You can go ahead and leave the session, and the resources will be available to you to look at later if you need them also. So have a great afternoon. You did it. Ready to start 2021.
All righty.